and her video or her thing just wigged out on me.
She just decided to like jump all over the place.
Yeah, she got small on me. What's up with that?
She's a fairy.
She's a fairy.
Yeah,
she looks like she's sitting on your shoulder. So what's happening, guys and gals?
Not too much today.
Oh my god! Now she's big. Like she's got really huge. What the hell?
It's giant.
Maybe because we're. I don't know. It's just weird.
It just makes it that much more entertaining.
We don't need a woman on the show with a really big head because we'll never hear the end of it. All right, so this is my part of it is standing your ground, and Miss Fire and Fire's got their own thing. We're all in each other's lives, and we're going to cover some of the stuff that happened for them. What, yesterday? Was it yesterday or today? Yesterday, right? Oh, was it today?
Yep.
So it's fresh in memory.
So we ended up going down to Sacramento to the Matsui courthouse, and there is a court case that's been ongoing. That's the CFR court case, and they're fighting for the right for people in California to be able to have their open carry ability that has already been decided by the Supreme Court multiple times on multiple occasions. And what we're seeing right now is that the court is just having blatant disregard for everybody showing up. This is now the fourth time that they've turned around and canceled it or changed the date all on the same date as we ended up going down. And so we went down there today, and maybe about 15 minutes before the thing's about to start, people took off work. You had the attorney who's actually a New York attorney because they couldn't even find an attorney in the state of California that would take the case, flew here from New York to be able to go to this event. And the judge said, "Oh, I've got a sore throat. We're going to cancel it. We'll do it again." And then this evening, she ends up saying that it's going to be at 11 o'clock in the morning tomorrow.
Of course. That sounds like it sounds like the trip that I had a bunch of people planned to go to Sacramento at the actual Capitol building, and we were going to kind of flash mob them and just create a scene, and then we all get there. The cops know that we're coming, so somebody either dropped a dime or they were eavesdropping, and the politicians weren't there. It sounds very similar.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying. And the ironic thing about it is that on the actual letters in the tiles leading up to the building, they have all these quotes, and one of the main prominent ones is "Justice delayed is justice denied." They're very on place. And I know we've gone down at least twice now to do this. I've ended up taking off the day to go down and support this. I know a lot of other people ended up taking off the day and doing this as well, but this is exactly what we're seeing in our country right now. We're seeing justice not being given to any of the people who deserve it, and we're seeing justice on everything that's our rights, our abilities to be able to say, hey, this is my God-given right, this is what our founders put in our Constitution, and you're going to respect that. We're not seeing any of that taken care of, but yet we see Hillary not getting prosecuted on her emails at the same time while somebody else gets prosecuted for the exact same thing. We're seeing Epstein case just turn around and get washed away when there's hundreds of high-profile people who are wrapped up in that ordeal. We're seeing corrupt officials who are within the FBI, within the CIA, and within the DOJ who are going after our president and committing treasonous actions, and nobody's being held accountable. You're not seeing any justice whatsoever.
That just goes to show you that there is a tiered justice system.
There is. Miss, what's your thoughts on what happened today?
Frankly, in my case, I'm kind of pissed off about it because we went down there for specifically. She could at least said no or something like that, make up an excuse saying she's sick, because if she was really sick, she wouldn't be trying to like say, "Oh, we're gonna reschedule it for tomorrow." I mean, can't just not be sick one day and then like be sick the next day.
Well, and what's the reasoning for the other cancellations?
Too
I mean,
busy.
this is the fourth time, right? Or fourth or fifth
Last time
time.
we were there, they said, "Oh, well, we've got too many cases on the docket today. We're not going to see you today."
Yeah, that was last time that we went.
And so this has been the basis of what they've been putting together and saying, "Oh, yeah, this is what's happening." But it's just absolutely asinine when you look at it. And the premise of it is the Supreme Court and the Ninth Circuit has already ruled that your right to carry a firearm is the open carry with a loaded weapon.
Well,
Now,
that's what
what we're
everybody's
seeing,
constitutional right should be.
yep, and what we're seeing right now that is extremely troubling is we're seeing all of these different places. We're seeing Walmart, Cost, we're seeing Walgreens, right? And several others who are all saying, "Well, we don't want you to open carry in our stores." So what we're seeing is
Kroger stores.
Kroger. I don't know about Kosh. I think it was Kroger, the other one. But what we're seeing is that we're seeing all of these stores that are saying, "No, you don't have a Second Amendment right here in our stores." And the more businesses that do this, the more it ends up turning everything up on its head.
Well, they've gone as far as some of the stores like Walmart, and this was in Kentucky. Um, yeah, it's been about a little over a month and a half, I think, where a guy had gone in there open carrying, and you know, Kentucky's a completely red state, and he was in Lexington, Kentucky, and I've lived in Kentucky, and I know how red that state is, but you still have these politicians and everything else running around there, forcing their will on different businesses, different entities. But a guy's walking around in a Walmart with a gun on his hip, and some person decides that they don't like that, so they get on the phone, and all they said to the cops whenever they called them was, "There's a guy with a gun," and this is like a month after the Walmart shooting. And you know, what do you think that the cops ended up doing? They rushed there, weapons drawn. This guy wasn't doing anything wrong. His gun was never out of the holster. And not only did the cops chew his butt for walking around in a store, um, you know, with his constitutional rights, that they chewed his butt because of something that happened in another state. And then not only that, but Walmart banned him from life from every store that they own.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's getting real. I mean, you know, there's gonna eventually, it's gonna end up leading to something that none of us want to see.
No. And that's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to get with you today is because we're at a place, and I think we need to be talking about this and getting the information out there because there is a system that is failing right now, and it's our government. There's no matter what that we do right now, from at least the financial aspect that I'm looking at right now, we can't do anything to stop this.
Nope.
And what is happening is you had a baby boom that took place right around the 1950s, and the birth rate was 0.23 to every thousand. So you ended up having a 2-to-1 birth rate that was being taken at that point in time. As of 2009, it's going from 1.297 in 1957, and in 2009, it's at 0.13. So you have right around a third of the birth rate in this nation right now over these past few years. And the problem with that is we have a system now when we've done away with pensions, and we've done away with that because the government said that we don't want people to be able to steal your pensions. We want to steal it, basically, from what we've seen them do with Social Security and what we've seen them do across the nation.
Right.
But now we're in a place to where people are getting older. We've got the baby boomer generation that's getting older, and they're going through and they're going to be withdrawing their funds, and they've already started. In 2010, we had around 3 million people who ended up reaching the age to where they mandatorily have to start withdrawing, and that's the crux of our system right now. So they're withdrawing all these funds, and we're now at a place that by 2030, we're going to have 81 million people who are reaching that age and who have reached that age in these last 15 years. And how are we going to support our stock market, our economy, everything else when we no longer have this money that's in our system? What we're going to see is a crash unlike any other. Add into
Well,
that.
and here's, and I don't mean to cut you off, David. Here's something I want you guys to think about. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this actually happened to me today. So with the generation that we have now, we all know that the work ethic and of millennials in general is weak at best. And so I had a 34-year-old man, which he's at the edge of being a millennial, but he's still a millennial. He acts like it. Everything else, come in and apply at my place of business. And as my job, I have to hire and fire and make determinations whether I was going to hire somebody. Well, we were a little shorthanded, so we decided to go ahead and try this guy out. He came in and applied and said, yeah, I can work any hours, yada, yada, yada. So we hired the guy. Today, he's supposed to start today. Well, he calls me like 2 hours before he's supposed to be there, and he goes, you know what? I'm not going to take the job because my roommate doesn't like the fact that I'll be coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, does your roommate put food on your table? Does your roommate put gas in your car? Does your roommate pay the rent? So what I'm getting at here is the millennials that we have now and 20 years down the road. Okay, all these people want something for nothing, right? They don't want to work for it. So if you look at the ratio of our millennials, the American millennials, compared to like China, everywhere else, China is still teaching their people, to work for a living, respect. Here, we don't have that. So in 20, 30 years down the road, the money that our generation would spend, we're not going to have that with the generation that's out there now because they're not going to be earning a living like we did. I started when I was 13 years old. I've been paying taxes since that point. And, I'm looking at the millennials, and I'm not blaming them all. Some of them do work and some of them do a good job. But if you look at how many people we have now that are unemployed, that are homeless, that are out on the streets, or unemployed living at home with their parents, it's a very dismal situation. So that money that you're talking about that's going to be leaving the economy, not only is it going to be leaving the economy, but there's not going to be any new going in.
Yep, that's exactly it. And we're at a place to where as this money goes forwards, it's going to never come back. Yep. And we're not going to see it. And it's a whole crux of things. You've got all these people who have been aborted. It's, how many is it now for Planned Parenthood, Miss?
Like 250,000, isn't it? I don't know what the total is.
Just for Planned Parenthood, I believe they just reached 81 million. And then you also have the other abortion clinics that were within this country that now have, I believe it's right around 130 million that have been aborted since 1971. So that right there that's your replacement for what would have actually taken the place of these other people to be able to improve our infrastructure and our economy. And now we're actually seeing a collapse because of it. And so as this progresses, the other big thing that we have is our welfare system. And the big thing that I'm looking at is we don't have any way of taking back our country and gaining our freedoms. And we already have a socialist society and a socialist country in many ways now because of all of these welfare benefits that are going on. So I did some research today, and it is better for a single mother with 2 kids to stay at home and work a part-time job and make $20,000 a year, $21,000 a year, and be on our welfare system, and she'll make the equivalent of $52,000 yearly because of our welfare system. And so that brings me to a few of the shocking statistics of welfare. And this is an article that was published on USA Today on September 2nd, 2015, and it says more than half of the nation's immigrants receive some kind of government welfare, a figure that's far far higher than native-born populations, according to a report released Wednesday. Around 51% of immigrant-led households received at least one kind of welfare benefit. Now, this is a more recent article, if I can find it. Let's see. Right now, of the U.S. population, around 35% of the total U.S. population is on welfare. Around 46.5 million people, or 15%, are receiving food stamps. And there are, as of 2012, there are 83 million people, or 26%, receiving Medicaid benefits.
That's
So what we're
retarded.
seeing right here is that we're seeing there's no plausible or possible way that we're going to be able to break out of this system of slavery, because no matter what you do right now, you're in a slavery situation. From what I was seeing, there's really not too much benefit from moving outside of California, aside from being able to get your rights and your freedoms back. Those are the biggest things. And
Well, yes and no.
okay.
And the reason I say yes and no is because we're up here in Alaska now, and it's been so much better for us. And I'm not saying that we're getting everything back, but a lot of the takeaway isn't there here. We don't have to pay state tax. We don't have to pay. There is no state income tax or state sales tax here. And I'm sure that they talked about it. I'm sure that they floated the ideas before, but the people here will not allow it. Now, keep in mind, we are in a state here that's the biggest state in the country, and it's got less than 1 million people in it. So, I mean, there's a pretty big pull whenever it comes to conservatism here. And, we wouldn't be able to buy a house anywhere in California. There's not a chance. Here, we're closing on one in like 15 days. So, that's the difference and we got a decent economy because we have oil here. But we also have leaders in the state that have half a brain, and they're not out to ruin another American. They're out to help other Americans. So it's just a difference in where you live. If you're a conservative, you should be living in a red state. You should get completely as far away from California as you can, or New York, or Illinois, or any of the other basically dumps that are out there. So, I mean, as a whole, here's the thing, and I'll be honest with you, and I've said this 100 times before. Since the election, what has changed? What has changed? Has your pocketbooks changed? Has your mental health changed? For the left, yes, it has. The mental health has gone to complete crap. But no one's pocketbooks have changed. Mine hasn't. I mean, other than I'm not paying the federal government and the state government a ton of money every year now. That's the only thing that's changed, and that's because my location changed.
Well, the taxes have changed in general. They say that the average family is receiving about an extra $1,800 a year back from their taxes based upon the tax cuts that we had from Trump. There have been some very good things that he's done, and one of the things that I wanted to mention that was actually of yesterday's date was more than 2.5 million households dropped off food stamps since President Donald Trump's first month in office, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Yep.
Yeah, he created more jobs. But at the same time, as a tax-paying citizen, what I noticed was, I got more money in my paycheck, but I ended up having to pay more money on my tax bill.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm dealing with that right now with the house thing. So before I can do the house thing, I either have to, we didn't pay 2018 taxes, so I have to pay them up, which was another $1,000 more than what we made the year, or than what we had to pay the year before. So, there is goods and bads. Yes, you're going to have more money in your check, but at the same time, that more money that you got in your check, you better make sure that you save it, because it's going to end up going to taxes, in the long run. And that's exactly what happened. So it's robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Well, and that's what we're constantly doing. We have a system now by which everybody is taxed crazy amounts, no matter where you live. And California is especially bad. And it sucks everywhere. But for the most part, like I was looking at Utah as far as moving there. But Utah, for instance, has really bad wages. And their wages have not gone up. It's so bad that it's making their local headlines as far as the news goes because people aren't able to make it by and they're working more hours just to be able to get where they need to be. But really what it comes down to is we've got all of these leeches on our economy and on our system. And that report was a USA Today report, but the other report that I ended up reading said that 63% of all immigrants who are here are on some form of government assistance.
Oh yeah, and they get a big check whenever they get here.
And then aside from that too, that's not even taking into account how many of them are milking our system, working under the counter jobs, and turning around and having all the benefits that go along with that, and then getting all the money that goes along with not paying the taxes. I'd love to have the money that I pay in taxes every year. That'd be pretty good.
Absolutely. Just from the fact that living and working in Alaska, we're probably going to end up saving like $30,000 in taxes just from California. Not to mention the tolls that you have to take, the gas prices that they charge you. I mean, it's almost it's $5 a gallon in some parts of California right now. We're still paying $2.70 something up here. So, I mean, literally, we're paying half of what the state is that we came from. So, and like I said, no state sales tax or state income tax. So, I don't know how anyone there can do it anymore. I mean, I'll give you an example. Martha Amazoni, one of my friends out in Milpitas, one of her neighbors has to move because the rent is now $4,700.
Yeah.
Who can afford $5,000 on a house? Probably a subpar house on top of that.
Yeah.
And it's completely ridiculous. I mean, not everybody's a movie star.
No. And I will go ahead and preface what I was saying too, because we're in a gooder spot in California, and our rent's only like $1,300 a month, and that includes PG&E and all the rest of that. So we're already making a real good deal here for a 3-bed, 2-bath house, and so we're already a lot better off. So I can't really say that across the board you wouldn't be benefited, because by all means, if you lived in Sacramento, San Jose, and you were making less than $108,000 a year, get the hell out. There's no reason.
Or you'd be living on the streets in another year.
Yeah.
And that's sad to say. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. She was also daycare. She babysat, and there was some other stuff that she did too, but it was all from home. And my dad, I don't know he never made more than 30. That's how bad things have changed since, I'd say, like 1994. I was 18 years old when I left the house, and he never made more than $13 an hour. My first head mechanic job in bowling alley was $18 an hour. That shows the difference in the 80s and 90s versus today. And I'm making quite a bit more than that now.
Yeah. Well, the thing that actually amazes me is I was going into the gas station the other day. Arizona iced tea. Everybody remembers Arizona iced tea. It's literally marked 99 cents on the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, now Arizona iced tea in the just gas station, it's now $1.79.
Yep.
And we're seeing this just progress more and more to where just in the last 5 years, things have doubled. No matter what way you cut it, things have doubled. And we constantly see this push for people to have the minimum wage raise here. And they're saying that, let's go ahead and raise it up to $15 an hour. You deserve $15 an hour to flip a burger.
And you know, go ahead.
What they don't understand is at no way, shape, or form is that going to benefit anything. If they're making $15 an hour, your meal now is going to cost $23 for you to be able to get the same meal that you could buy for $7. And then you've got inflation. The only person who benefits from you making more money is the government.
Yep.
And your taxes. You're in a new tax bracket, so they get more of it.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring this up because they tried this in Seattle, and what ended up happening in Seattle was, your people that were making $7-8 an hour, and they rose it up to, I think it was Seattle, it was in Washington somewhere. So your people that were making $7-8 an hour were paying a bunch of taxes, and they were getting by. Well, they raised a huge stink when Bernie ran back in 15. And so they rose up the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Well, two things happened. Businesses went out of business because they couldn't pay $15 an hour. Two, the worker $15 an hour started seeing their money disappear in taxes, so they quit. So it was like a boomerang effect. Oh yeah, you're going to get the money here, but it's going to be taken away there. And so, you still got people that are still looking for, lower paying jobs so that they can still live off the government tit. And, it's again, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And, unless they start printing a ton of money and start handing it out to people, that's the way it's always going to be. I remember in high school doing history, and our history teacher was probably the most constitutional guy I knew. Old crabby bastard, and hated government in general, and he wasn't scared to let you know. And it was funny because he used the government and everything as his teaching tool. And but he was probably one of the best teachers when it comes to the Constitution, because he would always remind everybody that this country was not built on taxes, and right now that's how it's being ran.
Yep. Yeah, it most certainly is. And we're at a place to where we're worse off than we were right now than we were in 1776 when our country was formed and when we were looking for freedom. We now have become what Britain was to us, and we now have become, with our government, to our citizens, what they were initiating on them that the people revolted upon. And now the kids this generation are completely brainwashed into thinking that socialism is somehow going to do good by them, and yet they don't know about what they can even do with socialism or what socialism means. And they call it democratic socialism and think that somehow that means it's different from all of the cases of socialism before that ended in massacre and slaughter.
Well, it goes back to the climate change thing, right? So, at least this is they tested. I think that they tested that to be able to push this. And then the reason I say that is because to begin with, in the 70s, it was global cooling. Then it was global warming, and they just kept building up to it, and they kept getting shot down, and they kept evidence kept popping up that their theories were bullshit. So then they came up with an umbrella statement, and the umbrella statement was climate change, right? The climate change. Well, it's always changed. Everybody understands that. It's been changing since dinosaurs were here. It's been changing before that. And socialism, whether it's democratic socialism, whether it's communism, it's all the same. It's kind of an umbrella statement. And you look at any socialism anywhere where everybody's supposed to be equal. They're supposed to have the same money here. They're supposed to have the same stuff. The people that don't realize, and here's the best way to teach a kid what socialism is. They get their paycheck, and I should really do this to some of the kids that work for us. They get their paycheck. You can cut it in half. Because all the money that they just worked their ass off to earn, they only get half of it. Because someone else needs the other half, right? And that's one of the best lessons that you can ever teach somebody. It's like it's like going out to one of these people that are homeless and you give them $1. Before you give it to them, you cut it in half and give them half your dollar. They're going to look at you like you're nuts. Well, why did you cut it in half? Well, because half for you, half for me. That's what socialism is. And that's exactly what it is. The only problem is with socialism is it's more like split 4 ways, where the government gets part of it, you get part of it, and 2 other people get part of it. So,
well, and that was the thing that really absolutely bothered me today. Did you get a chance to see the video at the courthouse that I sent you?
I did.
So at the Matsui courthouse, what we're discussing is that courthouse that we went to today where they basically denied us justice, because even by their own thing, it said justice delayed is justice denied. And so now it's been delayed 4 times, so that's 4 times denial. And at this place, the very first thing you see when you walk up the court steps is you see a baby goat with horns. And that can represent a lot of things, but there's a lot of really weird symbolism that's at this place once you start looking at it. And I had actually posted the video on Mrs. Thing earlier, and I'll see if I can share it on Tanks as well, or you can just share it from that video that I sent you. But there's a statue, a sculpture inside of this fountain of a fish that's holding a bag of money. Mm-hmm. And then in the next one you have the fish that's being plunged through with a spear, like somebody who's working to catch the fish. And then you've got the California grizzly bear standing above him, looking like he's going to take the fish next. The very next thing you see after that, just following the linear progression, is the eagle that's eating the fish. And so when you look at it, it looks like they're actually depicting that the basically rulers of us right now, the federal court, is saying that you're going to work for the food, we're going to take from the food, and the federal government's going to take the rest. And that's what we're seeing. And that's what their ideology is. And they had 2 separate areas on that where they clearly had some really weird symbolism that was taking place that was just so in your face you couldn't even ignore it. And they're not being shy about it anymore.
Well, I mean, look at I mean, you could look at it like that's a bunch of different things. You could look at it like, Luciferians have taken over certain things. I don't know how long those statues have been there, but it was not too long ago that in Arkansas, Satanists, I guess is the best way to put it, tried to erect a goat with horns with a human body at the Capitol building there. Mm-hmm. So you're seeing stuff kind of pop up, weird stuff all the way across the country. Even in Alaska, we've had some weird things go on. Kenai and Soldotna here, they've got some politicians that are a little off their rocker, is the best way to put it. So we had one of them that was a Satanist or a Luciferian, and he got up and he said that the morning prayer or whatever, and they allowed him to do it. He had to actually sue to get them to let him do it, but he won the lawsuit. So they let him do the invocation, and the last thing he said was "Hail Satan." Well, this last month, since he was allowed to do it, was it a Rastafarian guy? Yeah, a Rastafarian who, his god is the spaghetti monster in space or whatever the hell it is. He got up and he did it, and when he did it with no joke, he did it with a string around his head. And these are the people that are leading each state, our country. I mean, this guy's one step away. These 2 guys are one step away from Congress. They decide that they are done with what they're doing here, and they decide they want to run for something in D.C. And next thing you know, we got a guy, a Luciferian and a Rastafarian in Washington, D.C. And they're praying to the spaghetti monster. I cannot fathom what the hell goes on in people's heads anymore. It's like common sense is gone.
this is the madness that we're seeing spreading. I'm not sure if it was a hoax or not. I know a lot of people are saying it was, but there was a woman who looked damn serious about eating babies to save the globe right in front of AOC. And AOC didn't even turn around and chastise it or say anything bad about it. She just turned around and said, I get that she might have been afraid of the one, which I think would be the right result, but by the same token,
I'm going to stop you there because that was actually, you're going to laugh when I tell you this, but that woman was actually a pro-Trumper.
good. Thank God.
That was a pro-Trump group that put that woman up there. And I'd like to share the truth. So that was a pro-Trump group. They put the woman in there to basically either heckle or spam AOC and to see what her reaction would be. Everyone's seen the reaction. She did not talk her down. I mean, if it had been me up on the stage, I'd have been like, what the hell are you, what did you smoke? What did you smoke before you got here? And AOC's like, oh, we're not going to say nothing. We're just going to like try and like act like it didn't happen.
Well, in some ways, it actually seemed like she still faced the video. It seemed like her reaction was that she agreed with the woman on some level. She didn't deny it whatsoever. And the most disturbing part about this is you see that in the past we've had people who have gone up to her and said, will you condemn ISIS? Will you condemn Hamas? Will you condemn Antifa after Antifa got branded as a terrorist group? Will you condemn the actions of trying to blow up any of our government facilities? No.
No, she won't.
No, she won't.
And I think the reason she won't is because here's the thing. AOC is she's not who she says she is, for one. There's been all kinds of reports out that she was basically a plant. And, there was, I think it was her boyfriend or whatever, was actually the one who came up with the AOC idea. And basically she ran for office under under false pretenses, essentially. And it was like, okay, we got to find someone popular. They found someone that hit on the culture that was there. And no one was running against her. I mean, the person that did run against her didn't even break the mark. I mean, it was like she ran all alone. And but everything, if you ever watch AOC whenever she's being questioned about anything, she doesn't have an answer to nothing. Even the new Green Deal that she came up with, there's no answers for anything because she's not the one coming up with it. It's her handler, is the best way to put it. I'll have to see if I can find some videos and send them to you because AOC does not think for herself. She's got someone behind her doing all the thinking. And I think that's the same thing with the rest of the four horsewomen, I guess is the best way, what everyone's going to call them. Omar, and then Talib, and then this other woman. I'm not sure who the other woman
The
is.
squad.
That too. Someone, I think it was, wasn't it Trump that coined them four horsewomen of America or something like that? It was not a flattering name, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I mean, what we see from them is just all bad, more bad, and then some people did something.
Right?
That's about how far they go. But
some people did something like marrying their brother or marrying their relatives. And, I mean, marrying her brother to get to have a green card in the United States, that right there is illegal on more than one front.
of
And
course.
they're letting her sit in Congress. I mean, of all places, so.
What about the illegal alien that just ended up getting appointed to office as the first lady in a nation to get appointed to office?
That was like 6 months ago or a year ago. That was in California, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think it was only about 2 months ago, based on the article.
She'd been running. I've been seeing that article for a while, and maybe it's because she was running in. But she didn't run. She got appointed at that position. I remember reading about it when I was still there. I think it was 2018 when all that happened. I was still in California whenever that was going on.
So in that case,
Miss
is
Byron?
she still in office?
Yes. I think Newsom is either Newsom. No, you know what? Brown put her in. When he was
I
still
don't
there.
think it was Brown.
What is slap to legal immigrants?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and that's
if
the
you
thing,
want
it-
a Hispanic or whatever to get one that's legal, I mean, there's plenty of us out here. I'm sure we're legal. I'm sure there's someone smart you can find.
Well,
You're right. March
was
March
just
18, 2018.
Yeah,
You're right
I
on
thought
that.
it was last year. And I think that would have been back when Brown was there. So
Yeah.
it's pretty disgusting, and and they did that not long before. You know what? It was after they put her in there after the shooting of Case Highway. So I mean, talk about a slap in the face to anybody that's ever had anything done to them by somebody that's not legal. It's disgusting. Here's the thing with the illegal immigrants and everything else here. It's not going to be long before they change the Constitution enough to where they allow a foreigner to run for president. It's not that big a leap for that to happen soon.
Well, and that point, it won't even be a election meddling. It'll just be you'll be voting for Putin.
Well, or Schwarzenegger, or any other foreign-born idiot. I believe we've already had one foreign-born guy in there, and that was the last president.
I believe it.
He's always had his. He's always not been an American, in my opinion. The way he acted, the way he bowed to other leaders. America, proud Americans are strong. It doesn't matter what their background is. Proud Americans are not going to bow their head to any other leader. And how many times did he go on the apology tour? We shouldn't be apologizing for anybody for all the work that we've done as a country, and how we ended up being one of the last countries that was developed, and we ended up being the leader, because we learned from this country, learned from all the other countries' mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes us better than everybody else. And I'm not saying we're better than other countries, but that's what makes this country the country that everyone wants to live in, which is why we're always getting refugees.
I'm going to say it. We're better than every other
I was
country.
gonna say that too. I was like, I've been to Mexico. The shithole.
Well,
I'm gonna say it.
No, you're right. There's countries out there though that
I've got friends of mine in Europe who are begging to come to America. Miss and I actually had a couple that wanted to marry us so they could get here. They even offered to sleep with us. They were from Israel. They wanted to come over here. No, of course not.
No. Here's a story. I actually have a friend of mine that lives here in Alaska, and she did that, and she got caught, and it's a big fine. So it was her and a friend married another guy and a woman that were together, and the guy paid them 25 grand apiece to marry them. And the problem is whenever you get into a situation like that, you have to live with them for X amount of time. Well, neither one of them could put up with each other, and they ended up getting caught. Basically, the woman, my friend, turned the other guy in, and it turned him in completely. It turned the guy in for and the woman for fraud, and they all ended up getting in trouble for it. All four of them. It was pretty funny.
Were they also doing it to get into the country to stay?
They were Russian.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, they were. See, Alaska, and you guys don't know, but Alaska has a really, really big Russian Orthodox population, and but Russian, it's old school Russian beliefs. It's not like it's not like the Kremlin kind of beliefs. It's like when you see them, you understand who they are. The women wear bonnets. It's kind of like Amish, but not. They're just Russian. And they make their own clothing. They have their own. They go to a lot of the farmers markets and sell vegetables and stuff like that. So really good people. There's nothing wrong with them, but you can definitely tell that they're Russian. There's a lot of American young folks that are getting into it. You can see it here. Most of the people, most of the young, or most of the Russian Orthodox folks that are here are younger. They're not older. You hardly ever see any elders. It's kind of weird. It's like I said, it's like the Amish. But they don't go against technological advancements, but they keep to themselves.
So here's the thing. Off topic, but on topic, about why we're the greatest. Most people don't know it, but we're the last place that you can actually say whatever the hell you think on your mind. Yeah, you might piss a few people off, but now there is literally in Canada, if you speak out against anything, say you don't believe that a 3-year-old should be getting a sex change to decide what gender he's going to be for the rest of his life. If he wants to do that, he thinks that he should be Elsa. If you don't believe in that now, in freaking Canada, they'll come and take your kids away.
Oh, I know. They're pushing other people's beliefs on you.
Mm-hmm. And if you go over to Britain, it's just insane. There was a drug dealer not too long ago. Stupid ass haircut, man. I mean, he looked like one of the Dumb and Dumber brothers. And the cops actually issued a warning that said that if you make fun of this guy's haircut, we will come and prosecute you.
Now, see, it used to be over there that if you wanted to speak your mind, you had to actually. You ever heard of what the soapbox is? For you to be able to speak your mind, and you wanted to speak in public, you had to go out and actually stand on. And they were on street corners. They had a box, and it was a soapbox. You could say whatever you wanted to while you were standing on that box. And as soon as you stepped off that box, that was it. You couldn't say anything else. I mean, you couldn't opinionate anything. And that's where the term, okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. That was actually a real thing. I have a friend of mine that spent a lot of time in Amsterdam. He spent a lot of time in Paris and stuff like that. And that shit still exists. Isn't that crazy? In the 21st century, that stuff still exists.
Well, and the problem comes in is, how can you possibly make progress as a country or make progress as a nation if you're not willing to face tough things, if you're not willing to have conversations and you just shut it down? If you say that, hey, we shouldn't have a conversation on that. How about the fact that it was just a report that I read recently, there's stupid amounts of deaths from this transgender drug crap that they're putting down. There's been around 6,000 deaths based on the article that I was reading. And there's been like 16,000 adverse reactions. And there's not that many freaking trans people.
Right.
They make up like 1% of 1%. So when you got that many people dying, I mean, you want to talk about banning something that's killing people left and right that are using it. You're going after vapes that are killed like 6 people so far when you got something that maimed 16,000 and murdered 6,000? I mean, crap. You want to get angry at a movie that's going off about the very beginning. I think it was like that new It movie. You want to get mad about that movie because there was a gay couple that ended up getting tortured by a freaking clown at the beginning of it, or what? So you want to be a part of every culture, but you don't want to experience the pain side of it? It seems a little naive. Like, you're either a part of it. I don't think a freaking monster is going to care whether or not you're gay or not your food.
I don't know. I'm not sure, when it happened, how far, what caused it to get this far. But it has to do with some of the educational stuff. But the country in general has completely gone off the rails. And you know what? And he would probably say the same thing happened to him, but I doubt it. We and him still have good conversations and stuff like that. But I mean, he's kind of even scratching his head. He's like the town that I grew up in, 4,000 people. It's completely changed there. And he's still living there, and he sees it every day. He sees people coming in wearing. He made a comment to me. This has been, God, it's been a few months ago. But he came in and he goes, when did guys start wearing pants that literally would cut off circulation to your feet? I'm like, Dad, I don't know. He goes, I'd like to see you go out and lay some pipe on the, he was a pipe liner for gas company. He goes, I'd like to see him bend over and try and do what we did.
I wouldn't want to see that because they'd tear right through that and you'd have ass cheeks everywhere.
Yep. I mean, it'd be like going to work with assless chaps,
Basically.
It's gotten so, and here's the thing, and we're on it. We have gotten so dependent on computers and technology that we've forgotten how to interact with the general public. And I see that with the kids that I hire at work. We get them there, they start working, and they do a good job for like an hour or two. Next thing you know, you walk up, and they're walking through the building with their head down on their phone. And one of my rules is when you're on the clock, the phone has to be put away. So what they'll do is they'll just duck into a room and they'll look at it, or they'll go to the bathroom and they'll look at it. I swear to God, dude, if I didn't know better, I'd say that half my guys that work there have like some kind of irritable bowel syndrome because they always fucking disappear to the bathroom. You can tell because as soon as their phone goes off, they reach for the pocket. And then they start looking around and they dart to the bathroom. Almost every freaking time.
Well, and look at it just even from a perspective around the table. You go out to dinner anytime. 2/3 of the families that are out to dinner, they're sitting there staring at their phones all day long.
I admit, I do that sometimes.
And I mean, granted, when I was at breakfast this morning, I was doing that a little bit because I was looking at my stocks and I was going, crap, it's going down.
And I think we're going to continue to see that trend is not a good trend. We got lucky with the house of wine, so we got in at 3.25% on the interest rate. And then the day that we locked it in, it went up to 3.75. So we literally saved half a point by locking it in when we did. And it's gone up like 2 or 3 spots since then. So I don't know if it's ever going to, while all this impeachment crap's going on, you're going to, and this is one of the purposes behind the impeachment thing, is they want the economy to crash because they want something, it doesn't matter what it is, they want something to blame on. And the thing is the nation will believe, half the nation will believe that shit. Before impeachment talks, the economy was doing well. The stock market was doing well. As soon as impeachment gets mentioned, which anyone else, everything starts. Every time we've ever been in a recession, it's always been something like that. It's either been a trade war or we've been in a real war. I think something's going on. I think Trump's pulling back troops for a reason, with the Syria thing. And I've got friends that are in the military there, and or people who know friends that are in the military, and they're gearing up for something here in the States. I'm not sure exactly what it is. A lot of people are speculating, we got Marines underground and yada, yada, yada. Well, that's part of training, but there's a lot more going into some of the stuff than most people are aware of.
Mm-hmm. Well, then there was something about the UN in the news recently about them possibly trying to put together some troops and stuff, but I'm not sure if that was legitimate or just hush talk.
There was a lot of reports from truck drivers that they were seeing UN vehicles on the streets and everything else. There's actually one picture that I have on my phone that shows UN armored vehicles driving down the streets. Well, there's another picture going around that's got a bunch of UN armored vehicles on semi-flat beds. And the problem is we manufacture, and here's what sucks about not knowing what's going on, is we manufacture in Texas a shit ton of UN vehicles. Basically, the vehicles are made in a plant somewhere, and then we armor them. So they see these UN vehicles, and the first thing they do is, they freak out. Oh my God, the UN's here. The thing is that you have to look for, don't look for the vehicles, look for the people driving them if they're driving. And you'll see them on train cars too. But if you got guys driving and wearing camo, and they're wearing a blue helmet, then we have a problem because troops are here. Don't worry about the vehicles. Just look at who's behind the wheel.
Yeah, and I had heard. I know one of the last times that people were freaking out big about this, it was actually a joint training thing that was going on between our military and them, and I think they were training some of the UN guys. Which, yeah, it's good, it's bad. I mean, like you said, if you don't know what's going on, it's a little bit spooky. But at the same time, I don't think it's any reason to worry.
Well, here's the thing with the UN, and this report came out today actually, that they're damn near broke. They can't pay the UN troops to come over and do anything. They're literally almost broke, and I think Trump broke them. You know, he's not dumping the money into the UN that the United States was before. So, you know, they're not going to get that money from anywhere else. When you're getting most of your money from the country that is the most prosperous, and then we yank the money from you, good luck. I think that was one of the best moves Trump could have ever done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people are confused about this whole tariff thing that's going on with China, and I think Trump is partly to blame with that because he needs to tell it like it is. He needs to say it like it is. We have a lot of Chinese bastards, and I'll call them bastards because they're bastards, who steal everything we create. They steal every patent we have. They have our information. They take our information. They recreate it over there for cheaper than we can produce it for. And they steal ideas and dreams that took people here in America years and years to make.
Yep.
And we have a trade deficit of products coming into our country, but products not going out to our country. And the problem is Trump said that China is paying the tariff. That's not the way tariffs work. The American people are paying the tariffs. But if you understand what Trump is actually trying to do and trying to achieve, and the fact that it's working, China's GDP and their growth has dropped by 34% this year. So, yeah, it's working. And now the problem comes in is Russia and China are both trying to buy the euro to inflate the euro to make us have to buy more of the American dollar to strengthen the dollar. And so
here's what the citizens of those other countries see. Okay, so we have Trump, and I'll have to send you this link to this thing. It's freaking awesome. But we literally have a rock star in the White House. And what I mean by that is the reason that, one of the big reasons that Hong Kong and over there are rioting and protesting and everything else is because of who Trump is. But you see, you get China and stuff like that, and they're seeing how well this country's doing economy-wise. They want that for them. And China has been under communist rule for most of its life. It has. I mean, you look at the people that have run it, they've always had a dictator. And that's exactly what they are. The kids, and I will give them this, some of the stuff they do is actually really good. They teach, and this is where we can learn from them. They teach their people to respect other people's property. And if you were to take okay, so the Chinese have figured out a way to build something. It may not be better than what we build, like the steel, right? We are really rough on shit over here. The Americans are just rough. We want it built extreme so that we can't screw it up. And working in the industry that I work in, I've seen Chinese products and I've seen American products. And in Alaska, when I first moved up here, we had a center that had Asian or Chinese bowling lanes, and those things fell apart like it was nothing. Well, half the stuff come over here, it was missing paint. There was a lot of stuff that was just fucked up, and that was the quality that China put out. Well, they only charged about a quarter of what an American company would charge, but American stuff's built right. That same Chinese company that sent us the lanes installs them in China and they last for a long time. Well, you put them in the United States, we tear them up. Well, that's something that we can learn from them is respecting other people's crap. If you go into like say you go into a bowling alley in China and you destroy something, you go to jail. There's no, I'll pay for it. You go to jail. And here, we don't have that mentality anymore. It's like, okay, well, I just broke something. You can sue me, or, I can pay you to fix it, or screw you, I don't want to fix it, I'm out of here. That's our mentality nowadays. Over there, if you get caught stealing, you still get your hand cut off in some of those countries. There's certain offenses that get body parts removed. You go to jail, you disappear, and we'll see you for years. It's capital punishment. Is essentially what it is. Eye for an eye, hand for hand. We can learn from that. Again, we used to do it. In fact, my hometown, the courthouse that stands in my hometown still today, people used to be hung off that thing.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get back to those days.
We do. We've got way too many people. We don't have an enforceable death penalty right now. It'll cost you more than a lifetime's pay to be able to get a child molester and murderer hung. And there's no reason for it.
Here's how it needs to be handled. Go ahead, Ms. Fire.
Oh, not just that, but they're not just not doing anything. They're completely abolishing the death penalty in states, and just for the simple fact that people don't believe in the death penalty, yet they have abortions.
I agree. And here's the thing that the citizens voted for it. When California, for anyone that wants to know, California citizens voted for the death penalty on the last election, and Newsom bypassed it.
Mm-hmm.
Newsom said, "I'm not going to put anyone to death," and that was after the citizens voted for it in the same election. That's how corrupt these assholes are.
It's the same tactics they take with the illegal aliens that come over here too. We've seen multiple cases where a guy will come over here, he'll rape and murder a 7-year-old girl. He'll end up getting sent back to Mexico and back in the country within a week.
Yep.
And
well, it goes back to, it depends on who it is that does it. And I used to be a prison guard, so I've seen the different ethnicities and I've seen the different groups and whatnot and everything in the prison. But nowadays, it used to be the prison was full of white guys or full of skinheads or full of Mexicans or whatever you want to say. But it was very, at least in the prison I was in, was very diverse. I mean, it was not just one group. There was countless groups. And there was about the same amount of white guys versus Mexicans versus black people. It was about the same ratio. And nowadays, with the media and everything else hating on white guys, and I literally mean that, white guys, and I'm not racist by any means. I got friends that are from every nationality you can think of. I work with a Chinese guy. I work with a guy from the Philippines. I got one of my best friends up here is a black dude. I've got Mexican friends up here like you would not believe. But
by leftist standards, mentioning that you have friends who actually enjoy your company and like hanging around you, that automatically makes you more racist because you can defend against their racist accusations.
Of course.
Go ahead.
And the fact that I'm married to a woman from Thailand, right?
Dude, you're definitely racist. Because I'm married to a Mexican, I'm like 20% more racist than the average white guy.
Yeah, to liberals, I'm considered a slave to the white man.
Oh, and if you're a black dude, you're a coon. If you're, it's ridiculous. So I don't know. The generations that are out there now. Unfortunately, here's the reason that they silence us. And they only do this to people that have a big following. And I'm maxed out on my friends list on Facebook. I haven't been for the last 2 years, and they're just now kind of finding out about me. And I got banned from Facebook for a day. But I've only ever been banned one time, but yet whenever they banned me, they said, well, you posted 3 bad things in the past. Okay, why didn't you say anything? Well, the funny thing is, I think it's because I posted that same picture about 10 times. But they're using that as an example. So now in that picture, I had Mexican, I had from a woman from Japan, I had a woman from Thailand, I had men, I had women, I had every nationality you could think of that's local to California. I had them there, and it was a freaking going away party. It wasn't like I was going to storm the castle or anything, but this symbol got me banned from Facebook. And then I can't post a video on there for 24 free or till November the 4th. All.
And this is the thing about it. It's been disproven time and time again. You have the symbol that they're trying to say that is a W, and then that somehow makes a P. That is the most dumb-ass gang sign you could ever possibly throw. And in fact, let's go ahead and turn around. Let's dive deeper into this right now, because I got a bone to pick with these freaking boneheads that are doing this shit. Because at the end of the day, what we're seeing is we're seeing more and more of a hurt on people, and the media is turning it into white nationalism. And what I mean by that is you end up having, look, try me on it. Tell me if I'm wrong. Search white nationalism. The very first thing you're going to find is a Vice article about an alt-right group of white supremacists. There is white supremacy. There is alt-right. There are bad people. But my bone to pick is the fact that the media is the one who is taking, by all accounts from what I can see, I've tried to look around on it to prove or disprove my hypothesis, they're trying to turn it to where it's white nationalism. Whatever the hell country you're in, you should be a nationalist. But that is what they're afraid of. Because if you're a nationalist,
you're proud of your country. That's it.
You care about your country first. And if you do that, that means you're not going to want open borders. You're going to want the Constitution that you've been given as far as your rights. You're going to protect those, and you're not going to let them walk all over you. And so since 73% of America is white, the easiest way to shut people up is to say, he's a white nationalist. I mean, shit, she's white enough to be a white nationalist. Look at that American flag, that racist symbol. I mean, literally. The Betsy Ross flag, the flag that covers 13 nations or countries, states. I'm done.
Well, here's the thing. When I was a kid, everybody had a term for a different race, and I mean, everybody did. We were the crackers, we were the gringos, or whatever you want, whatever the nickname was in the day. And then your black folks, we had the colored, or black, or there's names that other people use that I will not even pronounce or try and use. But then you got your Mexicans, which were there was like spics, and there was wetbacks, and there was a bunch of other stuff that was used. But back then, back then you could do that, and it was almost like a term of endearment, right? You had your friends that were that, and you could call each other names like that, and no one would be offended. And you got black folks that use the word nigga all the time, referring to themselves, but yet if you even think about using that name, now you're the biggest racist on the planet.
Well, and in my neighborhood, even regular white people, Hispanics, we would constantly just call each other that. We would be like, nigga, please. That's the way we would talk to each other. And even Hispanics have derogatory terms for other Hispanics, the Spanish version of wetback, we'd say to the other Hispanic dude, mojado. So, you're a wetback. I mean, not a big deal, in my opinion.
It's gone completely out of hand, and the problem is we keep catering to a lot of those people. And that you got your people like what the hell is that redhead that the comedian.
Well, and my thought on it is, I don't want to interrupt, but my thought on it is that we're not even catering to the loudest people. We're turning these people into the loudest people because that's what they want. And like what we're saying here, when I was growing up, I heard sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me.
Yep.
Now these kids are growing up hearing that words are violence.
Oh,
And if you speak a word, then you all of a sudden are violent and you deserve to be beaten to death. And we see this constantly. Why is it that somebody turns around and posts videos that are derogatory towards that Greta Seinfeld bitch who goes up there on the world stage and is clearly a freaking master puppet?
Well, not to mention that she's already mental anyway.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean,
But if you say something against her, you're automatically a horrible human being who has done unspeakable things against a child. But it's fine for CNN to go on the news for freaking weeks straight and turn around and take a Covington High School kid and trash him.
Well,
Two kids in high school.
here's what the left has always done. Here's what the yeah, go ahead. Here's what the left has always done. Okay, the left has always done this. Is they've always got their champions, and the champions are usually someone that's mentally disturbed, someone that's physically handicapped. Look what they did with Trump and that one reporter. The guy that was all weirded out, and they nailed Trump for that. And even though in other speeches and stuff, he did that several different times before he even dealt with that guy. So they always find someone that their side can not only relate to in a lot of respects, but also feel bad for. And that's exactly the left leads by emotion. And if you are an emotionalist or you are a strong person, there's another reason they're going against the male, the white male thing is because of the testosterone, right? We have more testosterone than anyone else.
You toxic masculine man. How dare you grow a beard, you son of a bitch.
And the
You
funny
should
thing
drink
is,
your soy latte in the morning at Starbucks.
but how many white dudes with beards and stocking hats on and everything else do you see that are completely liberal as shit? You see them in Starbucks every day. I seen them in the bowling alley today. I seen a guy, shit you not, and I was nice to the guy. He dropped some money on the ground and I gave it back to him. But this guy was so effeminate, he was retarded. The guy he was chromed, he had his head shaved, had a beard that makes mine look like peach fuzz, and was wearing the tightest freaking jeans I've ever seen in my life, and had two kids. And had two kids with him. And I'm like, okay, he looks like a lumberjack from the head down, and then looks like a toddler from the waist down. Like, okay, you figure out what you want to be. But we're seeing that everywhere. It's kind of like, okay, dude, whatever. I think his wife shot for him. That's all I can say. If you even have a wife.
We got it now to the point to where it is, you can't be a man in this country. If you're a man in this country, you're automatically looked at as a bad guy. I mean, look at all this crap that's taking place with anybody who the left doesn't like. Anybody who, Kavanaugh. How many people have come out against him that haven't had anything? It's been proven time and time again that they were lying, and they weren't prosecuted for false testimony. They're not going to handle any of that.
And how many people came out against him that did exactly the same bullshit?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same thing. That he supposedly did.
Well, take a look at this whole situation with Biden right now. Biden actually had instances of turning around and trying to manipulate the Ukrainian government and make them do favors for them. The exact thing they're accusing Trump of doing with his inferred language, because that's definitely illegal terminology. Not.
Yeah.
But here's the other side of that. We're supposed to be all concerned about global warming, and freaking Biden's son's in charge of the freaking OPEC in Ukraine. How the fuck does that happen?
Yep. Well, I mean, you could even go further than that, the climate thing, by looking at how many jets Hollywood flies on. I mean, I don't know, man. There's so many different things wrong with the country that I think Trump, if he had 30 years to fix it, couldn't fix it all.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, we may only get him for another year. I'm hoping we get him for another 4. And here's the thing, and I think every American that's out there needs to be honest with themselves. And what I mean by that is I think that they need to understand that Trump was put in there for a reason. And the reason was to disrupt everything. And he's definitely done that.
Dude, I know. I voted for him so that he would backhand and bitch slap everybody that got in his way who has been treating everybody like dog crap for a long time. He's done it. I've been happy with him.
He's done it in a way, but he's got no backup when it comes to anybody in Washington. Now, he did just sign on Trey Gowdy, which I was kind of excited to see that. Trey Gowdy can lay the smack down on people better than most there. But here's the thing. And if we're going to go after anybody, it needs to be both the left and the right, not just one side. And the left is just crazy and they're stupid and they're acting like a bunch of toddlers right now. But the right's not helping out either.
Yeah.
You're seeing Mitt Romney, and you're seeing which is basically John McCain Jr. And there's other people coming out too that are bigger rhinos than what most people understood. And Romney's always been a rhino. The guy's always been an asshole, and he does that to save his own face. And that way he's in Utah, right? That's where that's the state he's a senator of. And so Utah, Trump had a little trouble with Utah. That state's just a little weird, and I work there, and I get it. Utah is kind of like they're like Switzerland. They don't like to get. They don't like to get.
It was founded by people who were Mormon, and there's a big percentage of Mormons. And if you're not a part of the Mormon church, there's a sectional divide of the culture. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It's almost like trying to join an Amish commune. It's beautiful, though.
It is pretty. I worked in a town called Brigham City, Utah for a little bit. I did a restore and remodel of a bowling center there. But I don't know, there's different Republicans out there that are not Republicans. They're closet Republicans, or they're closet Democrats, I guess is the best way to put it. But you're not seeing... You're not seeing the closet Republicans on the Democrat side. There's one guy on the Democrat side that has voted with Republicans pretty consistently, and that's what the hell's his name? I can't remember what his name is now. It's not Chris Coons. It's crap. I can't think of his name. But if you watch the guy, you can tell that he has some Republican attributes. And there was a speech that Trump gave in front of Congress one time, and he was the only one of the Democrats that was clapping, and people were giving him the stink eye for it. But he still stuck to his guns, and he still clapped, and he looked at him and was so happy with what Trump said. And he's voted with the Republicans in the past. The problem is he's gotten himself in trouble a couple of different times, or his family has. So the problem is we don't have any Republicans in Congress that are willing to step up for Trump. There's a few, but not near enough. And you have enough of them that could go over and vote with the Democrats that could really ruin Trump. The thing is that Trump knows is that with his following that he has, that if he decided to get on, and this is the way I would do it personally, now that he's got access to our cell phones and he can send us a text, if the shit hits the fan and he decides that it's time for the American public to get involved, he should send everybody a text and say, okay, it's time. And I think everybody would understand what that meant. The problem is even if he were to do that, he doesn't have access to it. He'd have to go through proper channels. But if he got onto Twitter or he got on anywhere else and he posted something and it got out there, it would even if it got deleted, someone would see it and share it. And it would take him 5 minutes to turn this nation on its head.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that. The Democrats know that. That's why they're fighting so hard to stay relevant.
And I wonder, though, about what's your thoughts on QAnon? Because I've been hearing it nonstop and hearing a lot of the things.
It's if you follow it, and I followed it for a while, and everything, all the bread trail and the crumbs and everything that they offered, 99% of it was crap, and the other 1% of it that wasn't crap was stuff that had been reported on by other news agencies other than the United States. They were getting their info somewhere else other than the United States, whether it was Reuters, whether it was, out of country things. I think it's a crock of shit. I don't think it's real, and it could be someone close to Trump that's doing it, but I highly doubt it, because every time, here's the thing, if that was the case, the Secret Service wouldn't be stopping people from carrying in Q signs. He would want that stuff on the stage. He'd want that stuff all over the damn place. The whole conspiracy theory that JFK Jr. is still alive, if you've heard that one or not, he's dead. He's dead. There's supposedly, if you go on YouTube and look up JFK's alive or JFK Jr.'s alive, you'll see all kinds of videos on it. And there's one guy in particular that they think is JFK Jr. And you're looking at him going, the dude looks like he's homeless. I mean, he's all bearded up and all crap. I don't believe a thing that Q says. I think he's just another distraction. That's my opinion. Now, there's other people out there that if I say that to their face, they're going to be so pissed off that they can't even look straight. They'll turn into a snowflake.
Well, and that's the thing. We need to have open minds and look at things from a very good connectivity, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people on YouTube who believe in flat Earth.
Oh God, I know.
And they will defend it until the ends of the frickin' Earth when they think they're going to walk off the edge and they're just in Switzerland again.
Well, let me, if there are any flat earthers out there watching this video, let me know where the edge of the earth is. I think, there was a meme a while back that said that if the earth was flat, the cats would have knocked everything off of it already, right?
That's fair.
There's a lot of different theories. Like, they said that the oceans are rising because of the ice melt. Well, if you know anything about physics, what happens when you put ice in your glass? It doesn't get any fuller. It doesn't add to it whenever the ice melts. It doesn't.
The only thing I could think on that theory is that the ice on the land mass that's already existing, but that already melts for the most part anyway and spills back down. So, no, that doesn't really matter. But another good one is reptiles.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that people don't get about the whole ice melt thing. Do you know how much water evaporates every day? More than what we put into the water. Literally, the evaporation rate of water is faster than what we can than what the ice would ever melt. And in Antarctica, in some areas, it may seem like it's melting a lot faster, but in other areas, it's thicker than it's ever been. The thing that people don't realize about all the global warming crap, and the media will never admit to this, but we're going through a magnetic pole shift. Even in Alaska, we're getting warmer temperatures than we have in a long time. And what's going on is the poles are shifting, which is changing the weather patterns. You're getting tornadoes in states that never had tornadoes, earthquakes in places you never had earthquakes. Mm-hmm. And so if you take into effect that everything's starting to shift, and NASA has actually stated this, the Earth is not on the same axis it was 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. What do you think that's going to do to the weather? It's going to shift it.
Well, and then also not just that, but I was reading some very interesting documents. Like you were saying, they were talking about an ice age. 1970s, and they were talking about that vehemently. Are you ready? I mean, we're talking New York freaking Times was going out and saying the ice age is coming. Are you prepared? And we need to do something about this, and we need to help this along. But what we actually saw, the reasoning for that was that big ass volcano that blew that dropped the temperature of the entire Earth by like 9 degrees. And then they said, oh, yeah, that's going to take like up to 40 years for us to be able to gain back the temperature that it had. Well, if that's the case, then we're just gaining back the temperature that we were already at.
Well, the problem is you got in the media, especially the media, they're the number one drivers of this, is you have so many alarmists in this country. I mean, Greta, right? This young girl that just went on.
How dare you!
Her little tour. That's the definition of an alarmist. I mean, this girl is what, 16 years old, and she literally has not even lived part of her life, but yet she claims that we're killing people every day because of the climate. Well, yeah, okay, whatever. Maybe in Ethiopia where they're not eating, or maybe in Iraq where there's a war every time you turn around, or maybe in Syria where ISIS is there. The problem with alarmists is they eventually start running out of shit to alarm people on. And, Greta is going to end up getting in the Nobel books or whatever, for Nobel Prize or whatever the hell it is. And so she'll be remembered in history, if you can ever remember her name to look her up. But she's no different than this idiot that was in the high school shooting. What the hell's his name? I can't even remember it now. That's how fast it goes away.
He never should have his name even said. No. Bastards like that should.
He wasn't even there that day, and he admitted to that he got there after the shooting happened. Shit, not look it up. He got there after the shooting happened, but yet he had been in videos or something, and they thought that he would be a perfect voice for it. So that's who they put in charge of it.
Now you're talking about David Hogg.
Yeah, David Hogg or Hogg or whatever the hell his name is. But you take the same age kid with the the one that had the confrontation with the Indian guy with the drum, and the guy literally had no reaction to that Indian guy walking up in front of him, which was a instigator to begin with. And they demonized that poor kid because he didn't have a reaction. What was he supposed to do? It's like the only reason that they demonized him is because he was basically a conservative. That's it. Mm-hmm.
It was the MAGA hat, and that's what we see time and time again. If the people disagree with you one way or another, and it's just as bad on the right. I've seen people that if you don't literally just get down on your knees and kiss the feet that Trump walks on, then you're dead to them. And I'm sorry, I can't support him during the times when he's banning bump stocks or talking about sound suppressors or any of that other crap. It's no.
I look back when Obama got elected, and his first election. On the second election, I wasn't happy that he won. First election, I didn't vote in. He wins, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe the country, maybe it'll be better off. My first thought was, oh, he's definitely going to help his people out, and that didn't happen. And the first term, he didn't do anything major. He didn't hurt anything. The second term, it's like he was getting warmed up the first term for the second term, and he just went balls out against the country. And the first one I thought, well, maybe the country needed to go a different direction. So I had an open mind, and we went through the term, everything else, and I'm like, this guy's a pussy. I mean, the best way to put it, the guy's a pussy. He cannot, he will not stand up to other leaders. Trump has been in there for, what, a year and a half, and he already had a meeting with North Korea?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what a leader does. That's exactly what someone with balls does. And he's already stepped over into North Korea. He's done a whole bunch of other stuff that no other president would even dare to do. And he's done it. So, hate him or like him, whatever, Trump he was put in there to disrupt it, and every so often we have to have a president do that. It's like the big reset. Mm-hmm. Ronald Reagan did it. JFK did it. you have to get in there and disrupt the status quo. And Trump has definitely done that. I mean, he's got the Democrats so frothing at the mouth that when was the last, let me ask you something, last time anything of any importance was passed by anybody on the left in Congress? It hasn't happened. It has because nothing's being written.
The only bad stuff that I can see that they're trying to push is a lot of the stuff that has to do with guns. Those are the things that they're pushing the most for, but they haven't been successful thus far. For the most part, there's a few bad rulings that they got through, but not too much.
And guess who supported those?
Republicans.
And Trump, and some of them.
Yeah. On some of them, yeah. The ones that I was the most concerned about, freaking Dan Crenshaw, that traitor snake bastard.
Oh, he tried to walk all that back too. And once the cat's out of the bag, once the cat's out of the bag, and I like Crenshaw. I thought he was going to be, I thought he was going to be the Trey Gowdy of the Republicans, and he just completely just shit the bed on that one. But, I mean, look, not only the red flag laws, look at the bump stock. The bump stock's a freaking accessory, and it wasn't even it's not like you're going to go out and you're going to do a mass shooting with a bump stock. The guy in Vegas was a complete fluke. And I'm almost 100% sure the guy didn't act alone.
Why would you turn around and do that? If you trained with that weapon well enough to use a bump stock, if you've ever watched anybody who's ever used a bump stock, you've got to train with a bump stock. If you're going to train, if you're going to train like that, you're going to know how to reload a weapon. It's going to take you longer to put a gun down, pick up another gun, and do the same thing. Why did he bring multiples of multiples? Why is the footage all gone? Why don't we have any of the information, and why didn't anybody follow up on it?
Where's the video from the hallway? Mm-hmm. Every one of those rooms in that place has got videos in it. And the reason
Epstein all over.
Yeah,
Epstein all over.
I don't know. There's a lot of questions in this country that we'll never have the answer to. Personally, I want to know if we have aliens here. But I was hoping Trump would enlighten that, but apparently not. Well, guys,
she's not an alien, folks, I promise.
That's legal.
She only plays one on TV. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. I'm starting to get to where it's hard for me to breathe. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, and you guys want to keep going, knock yourselves out, but I'm pretty much talked out.
I think we're good. We're going to use power in about an hour and a half because of all that PG&E crap that's going down. So we're going to get some water together and some of the other things that we need to do. We already have some of it taken care of, but we got a hot tub to fill up with fresh water.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Get it done. All right, guys. Good to see you. Great having a live stream. I'm going to keep playing with this thing a little bit. But when I get into the new house and get a studio going,
sounds good to me.
I'll have a little bit better picture. But I dig it. I like having the flag behind me moving, and it'll be fun. We'll have to do this again here soon. And Miss Fire, you got to speak up. Cut in.
I will. I didn't want to interrupt you guys.
You got to get in there. You got to get some of that toxic masculinity on you. You got to just dive right in.
She needs to have some toxic. What's the? She needs to have some toxic femininity. Yeah. All right, guys. We're gonna get off for now. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot my outro out, and we will go from there. You guys have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.